In Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident: that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us, in many cases, of the benefits of trial by jury. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coast, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is, at this time, transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that, as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Whoa, what a document. What a document. And that's how the United States of America began. A couple years ago, I typed up a few words to present to my on-ground U.S. history class, and I'm going to repeat them here. The American Revolution was one of the most pivotal events in all of human history. 1776 was far more than simply a year. 1776 was an idea. The idea, in its purest form, represents this: the empowerment of the individual, of human beings, their families, and their communities, standing up without fear to systems of arbitrary, despotic control. That is the meaning of the idea of 1776. Freedom is very, very rare. It is the exception in history, and we take it for granted at our own peril, especially in this 21st century, with all of the challenges that face us. 1776 was a long time ago, but that is precisely why the idea of 1776 must remain alive. We must remember liberty. We must remember what it means to be free. The future in the 21st century ought to more closely reflect 1776 and not 1984. We must remember in this challenge, in this century, the generations that preceded us, and those men and women who sacrificed everything to gain and to preserve that freedom. It is our duty to remember that. It is so tempting in this age of change to not look to the past for guidance and for wisdom. But we must do this because certain principles transcend time and space. The principles outlined in the Declaration of Independence are timeless. Virtue is timeless. Morality is timeless. Liberty is timeless. The danger of tyranny, yes, is timeless. All of these things manifest themselves differently, of course, depending on time and space. Nonetheless, it is a transcendent truth, a truth that is liberty, that is worth dying for.